You know that feeling. It starts in the pit of your stomach, a cold little knot that tightens every time you walk past the kitchen sink or step out onto the back porch. You look down, and there they are again, a black, winding river of ants, marching with a purpose that feels personal, like an insult to your hard work. You scrub the counters until your knuckles turned white. You wipe down the baseboards with vinegar until your eyes watered. You spent good money on those bright, colorful sprays that promise instant relief, bottles that sit heavy in your hand and smell like chemical fire. And yet, within hours, the line reforms. The invaders return. You feel a small, quiet guilt, don't you? Not because you are dirty, you are not, but because you feel like you are failing at the most basic duty of keeping a home. You watch your dollar bills vanish into thin air, exchanged for temporary peace that lasts no longer than a summer rain. You think to yourself, surely there is a better way. Surely our grandparents did not live in constant warfare with their own pantries. You are right to feel that frustration. But listen closely now, because I need you to hear this truth. The failure is not yours. The failure belongs to a world that has forgotten the old way. We have been taught to believe that strength comes from a bottle, that power comes from poison, and that nature is an enemy to be beaten into submission. But nature does not respond to beating. Nature responds to understanding. By the time we are done here today, you will not just have a trick, you will have a system. You will have the verified rules that turn a common pantry staple, something that costs less than a cup of coffee, into a barrier that no insect dares to cross. You will never buy another expensive trap again. I am Isaac Byler, and I keep house and farm here in Lancaster County the way it was handed down to me before the world got so fast. My hands are rough from the soil, and my memory is long with the lessons of my fathers. I do not speak to sell you anything. I speak to share what has worked for generations, long before the internet told us how to live. If you value this kind of plain, practical know-how that the world is trying to bury, I would ask you to subscribe to this channel. It helps us keep these old traditions alive for the next generation, so that when the shelves are empty and the systems fail, our children will still know how to feed themselves and protect their homes. Now, one honest word so you trust me. Cinnamon is not magic. It will not kill every pest in the county overnight, and it will not fix a house that is falling down from neglect. It is a tool. Like a hammer or a plow, it works only if you use it with intention. It requires patience. It requires observation. If you are looking for a miracle that requires no effort, you are in the wrong place. But if you are willing to learn the rhythm of your home and work with it rather than against it, then stay with me. What I am about to tell you is not theory, it is practice. It is the difference between fighting a war and keeping peace. Let us look at why you have been struggling. Look at the aisle in the grocery store where they keep the pest control products. Row after row of plastic bottles, bright red labels screaming warnings, prices climbing higher every year. Who benefits when you buy those? The company that makes the poison, yes, but also the system that relies on your ignorance. They profit from your fear. They profit from the idea that you are helpless without their chemical intervention. It is a cycle designed to run on waste. You buy the spray, it kills the ants for a day, but it leaves a residue that attracts other pests, or it harms the beneficial insects that keep your garden healthy. So you buy more products for the garden, and the cycle spins faster. Meanwhile, the big brands do not want you to know that the solution is already in your cupboard. They do not want you to know that a simple spice, harvested from the bark of a tree, can disrupt the sensory world of an ant so completely that they simply turn around and leave. This is not conspiracy, it is commerce. If everyone used cinnamon, the pest control industry would lose billions. So they market complexity, they market fear, they make you feel that simple solutions are too good to be true. But plain knowledge costs only pocket change. It sits quietly in the background, waiting for you to remember it. When you choose the old way, you opt out of their system. You take back your power. You stop feeding the machine that profits from your anxiety. And you start building a home that is resilient, not just reactive. Here is the first rule, and it begins with your eyes. You must learn to see the trail, not just the ant. Ants do not wander randomly. They follow a scent map, a chemical highway laid down by their scouts. When you see that line, do not just wipe it away blindly. Look at the texture of the surface. Is it porous? Is it smooth? Cinnamon works best on dry, non-porous surfaces where the powder can sit undisturbed. If you sprinkle it on a wet counter, it becomes mud, and mud is useless. You need the powder to remain fine and dusty. This is because the active compound, cinnamaldehyde, is volatile. It needs to evaporate slowly into the air to create a sensory overload for the ant. Ants navigate by smell. Their antennae are incredibly sensitive instruments. To them, cinnamon is not just a spice, it is a blinding fog. It overwhelms their ability to detect the pheromone trail. So, rule 1 is this. Identify the dry highways. Find the cracks in the baseboard, the edge of the windowsill, the dry corner of the pantry shelf. These are your choke points. Do not waste your cinnamon on the middle of the floor. Place it where the traffic is forced to narrow. Use a small spoon, level and steady. Remember, the line between medicine and poison is the dose. A mountain of cinnamon is wasteful and messy. A thin, continuous line is effective and elegant. Think of it as drawing a border. You are not burying the problem. You are marking a boundary that nature respects. Rule 2 concerns the quality of the spice itself. Not all cinnamon is created equal. In the store, you will see 2 main types. There is cassia, which is dark, hard, and strong. And there is Ceylon, which is lighter, softer, and more delicate. For this purpose, you want the cassia. Why? Because it has a higher concentration of cinnamaldehyde. It is stronger. It is sharper. When you hold the jar, shake it gently. Listen to the sound. A good, dry powder will sound like soft rain. If it clumps, if it sounds dull, it has absorbed moisture from the air. Moisture is the enemy of potency. Before you use it, smell it. It should hit you in the nose with a warm, spicy punch. If the scent is faint, the oil has evaporated, and it will not work on the ants. The horticultural science here is simple. The essential oils are what repel the insects. If the oil is gone, the powder is just dust. So, check your dates. Check your storage. Keep your cinnamon in a cool, dark place, sealed tight. Do not keep it above the stove, where the heat cooks the life out of it. Treat your cinnamon like medicine, because for your home's health, it is. A fresh jar costs $3. A stale jar costs you nothing but frustration. Learn to trust your nose. It is older and wiser than any label on the box. Rule 3 is about timing. You must apply the barrier when the house is quiet, early morning or late evening. Why? Because ants are most active when they feel safe, often when the household traffic is low. If you apply the cinnamon while children are running around or while you are cooking, the vibrations and air currents will scatter the powder before it can settle. You want the powder to rest. You want it to become part of the landscape. Apply it gently. Do not puff it into the air. Use a shaker with small holes or fold a piece of paper into a funnel. Create a line no wider than a pencil lead. Consistency is key. A broken line is an invitation. An ant will find the gap. They are engineers of opportunity. So, trace the entry point completely. If the crack is wide, fill it with a little diatomaceous earth first, then seal it with cinnamon. This combines mechanical barrier with chemical repellent. But always, always measure with care. Do not guess. A level teaspoon goes a long way. Over-application creates a mess that you will have to clean up, and cleaning removes the barrier. Precision is the hallmark of the wise farmer. He does not scatter seed randomly. He plants it with intent. Do the same with your cinnamon. Rule 4 addresses the source. You cannot just block the door. You must understand why they are coming in. Ants seek 2 things, sugar and water. If you have a leak under the sink, cinnamon will not fix it. You must fix the leak. If you have crumbs in the toaster, cinnamon will not help. You must clean the toaster. Cinnamon is a deterrent, not a cure for filth. Look at your kitchen with new eyes. Where is the moisture pooling? Where is the sweet residue hiding? Wipe down the outside of your honey jar. Rinse the soda cans before you recycle them. Seal your pet food. When you remove the reward, the ants lose their motivation. Then, the cinnamon becomes the final argument. It tells them, there is nothing here for you, and the path is painful. Without removing the attractant, you are just pushing them to find another way in. They are persistent. They will go around the cinnamon if the prize is big enough. So, combine cleanliness with the barrier. This is the holistic approach. It treats the whole system, not just the symptom. It requires honesty. Are you really keeping a clean house, or are you just hiding the mess? The ants know the truth. Make sure your actions match your intentions. Rule 5 is about renewal. Cinnamon is not permanent. It degrades. Sunlight breaks down the oils. Air currents blow it away. Footsteps grind it into the floor. You must check your barriers weekly. This is not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. It is a practice. Walk the perimeter of your kitchen once a week. Look at the lines. Are they still visible? Can you still smell them? If not, refresh them. This takes 30 seconds. It costs nothing but a moment of attention. Think of it like tending a garden. You do not plant seeds and walk away. You water, you weed, you watch. Your home is a living ecosystem. It requires tending. When you make this a habit, you stop seeing ants as enemies and start seeing them as indicators. If the cinnamon is gone quickly, you have high traffic. Investigate further. If the cinnamon stays fresh, your barrier is working. This feedback loop teaches you about your home. It connects you to the rhythms of your space. You become aware, and awareness is the first step to mastery. Do not resent the maintenance. Embrace it. It is the price of peace. Rule 6 involves the edges. Ants hate crossing open spaces. They prefer the safety of walls and corners. Use this psychology. Place your cinnamon lines along the baseboards, not in the center of the room. Create a moat around your pantry shelves. Dust the legs of your table. Think vertically as well as horizontally. Ants climb. They come down from the ceiling, up from the floor. Inspect the tops of your cabinets. If you see trails there, apply a light dusting. But be careful. Do not let it fall into your food. Use a shield, like a piece of cardboard, to catch the overspray. Precision protects your health. Also, consider the windows. Ants often enter through gaps in the frame. Dust the sill, but remember, wind can blow it out. If the window is open frequently, cinnamon may not be the best choice. Use it where the air is still. Understand the environment. Work with the physics of your house. Gravity, airflow, vibration. These are your allies if you respect them. Rule 7 is the most important. Patience. When you first apply the cinnamon, you may see more ants. Do not panic. Do not reach for the spray. They are confused. They are testing the barrier. They are trying to find a way through the fog. Give it 24 hours. Usually the traffic will decrease significantly. Within 3 days, the trail will break. The scouts will return to the colony and report that the path is blocked. The colony will redirect its efforts elsewhere. This is natural behavior. You are not killing them. You are evicting them. This is kinder. It is safer for your children and your pets. There is no poison on the floor, no toxic residue on the counters, just the scent of spice. If you rush, if you panic, you break the cycle. Trust the process. Trust the old way. It has worked for centuries because it aligns with nature, not against it. Watch. Wait. Let the system reset. You will be surprised at how effective silence can be. Now let us talk about what most people throw away. The stick, the quill. When you buy whole cinnamon sticks, you often break them to fit in the grinder. The small fragments, the dust at the bottom of the bag, do not toss them. In a kitchen run with care, there is no such thing as garbage. Take those broken pieces and the dusty remnants, boil them in a pot of water on the stove. Let it simmer for 20 minutes. The house will fill with a warm, comforting scent. But more than that, you are creating a liquid concentrate. Let it cool. Strain it. Put it in a spray bottle. This liquid can be used on outdoor patios, on garden paths, Anywhere you cannot use powder because of wind or rain. It is a versatile tool. The solids left in the strainer? Compost them. They add carbon to your pile. Everything has a purpose. When you view your resources this way, you stop seeing waste. You see potential. You see value. This mindset changes how you live. It makes you richer, not in money, but in resourcefulness. You become a steward of your home, not just a consumer. You honor the tree that gave its bark. You honor the labor that harvested it. You waste nothing. And in that frugality, there is a deep, quiet dignity. Let us do the math plainly. A bottle of premium ant spray costs $15. It lasts maybe a month if you have a serious problem. That is $180 a year. A jar of cinnamon costs $3. One jar can last 6 months if used with precision. That is $6 a year. The savings are $174. But that is not the whole story. Consider the cost of the plastic bottle ending up in a landfill. Consider the cost of breathing in synthetic chemicals. Consider the cost of worrying about your toddler crawling on a treated floor. These costs are hidden, but they are real. They weigh on your spirit. They affect your peace of mind. By switching to cinnamon, you save money, yes, but you also buy back your tranquility. You invest in the health of your family. You teach your children that solutions can be simple, natural, and safe. They learn to respect nature by working with it. They learn that expensive does not mean better. They learn that wisdom is often found in the ordinary. This is a quality of life benefit that cannot be put on a spreadsheet, but it is felt in the bones. It is the feeling of sleeping soundly, knowing your home is protected by something as wholesome as a spice cake. It is the pride of self-reliance. I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below what state you are in, what county, and how old your house is. I read every word. I want to know who is keeping these traditions alive. Are you in a farmhouse in Ohio, a townhouse in Virginia, a cabin in Maine? Your location tells me about your climate, your pests, your challenges. Share your stories. Share your successes. If you have tried this, tell me how it went. If you have questions, ask them. We are building a community here, a digital barn raising where we share knowledge freely. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so now. It is a small click, but it signals to the algorithm that this kind of content matters. It helps us reach others who are tired of the chemical treadmill. It helps us keep the light on. Next time, we will talk about something that falls from the sky and lands in your fireplace. Something black, powdery, and often swept away as dirt. But I will show you how a single cup of wood ash can transform your lawn, turning yellow grass green and strengthening the roots against drought. It is another secret the industry ignores, another gift from the old way. So keep your ashes, keep your cinnamon, keep your eyes open. The world is full of solutions if you know where to look. Until then, tend your home, respect the land, and walk gently.